Okay, in this video, I want to kind of briefly review and introduce a few things uh, so that you have the knowledge and skill set to make the train the colors and the way you want it to look. So I'm just going to do each car a little bit different, um, and you can kind of do your own thing, but this will just give you an overview about how to approach that. So to start with, I'm going to hide these three just for the moment by selecting them and hitting H. And then we have four cars. So for the first one, I'll leave the train wood color. Hang on just a second. Sorry, I had a spam call. So let's look at the wheels. And let's say for the wheels, I want them to look painted. So I'm going to pick, let's see here, paint green to start with. And let's say that I want them to look black. So I'll just make a copy of that by clicking this copy icon. And let's change this to black. And I'll go ahead and lock that as an asset. That way I have access to it later if you want. If you don't want to have too many things showing up in your asset library, you don't have to do that. And then we'll just change the color to black. So now I have wheels that are a black color and look like they've been painted. And one thing I didn't talk about, if you want the paint texture to look a bit smaller, we can adjust the scale here. And I will say on the wheels, we haven't applied the scale yet. And I mentioned not doing that until we set up the wheel rotation later on in this project. But once you do that, if you want the wood texture to look a bit smaller, you can look at the material. You can look at the mapping node. And if you look at the very bottom, you see scale, and you can change this number to make the texture look bigger or smaller. But for now, on this at least, I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, let's move on and let's look at our boxcar. And let's say that I want to make it a stained color. Actually, for this one, I'm going to leave it paint it. And there's a reason why for when we do some decal sticker things later. But anyway, let's say that I want to have the boxcar red, but the base to be black also. So I already have a black, but I need to apply that black just to the bottom part. And where we have this as one mesh, if I change that material, it's going to change all of it. So let's go ahead and select the train boxcar, switch to edit mode, and let's make a new material slot. So in the properties panel, go down to the material tab, and you'll see this section at the top, and we're going to hit a plus, and that will give us a new slot that we can attach certain faces to. Now, at the moment, nothing is assigned to this, and we want to assign just this bottom part. Now, we're lucky because we chose to model these as two separate things and join them together. So they don't actually have any vertices that connect. So if I hover over this bottom part and press the letter L, it will select everything that's linked under my mouse cursor. So it selects this vertice and anything else linked or connected to that. And the boxcar itself is not connected in any way. It's just sitting there. So once we have the base selected, we can press assign, and now whatever material we pick is going to be attached to that. So I'm just going to hit this drop down. I'm going to do paint -black, and now that will give it the black color, and we'll switch to object mode to make sure it looks like what we want. Okay, let's move on to the animal car. And for this one, let's switch it to stained, and I'll stick with the red theme. Now, I will also add, you can color these however you want. You can use whichever textures you want. I'm just walking through the process so you can see how to do it. But you're welcome to pick any textures and make it any colors. Just make it your own. So let's say that we want the bars to be a different material, different color. So we'll go into edit mode again. We'll make a new material slot, and we're going to select anything that we want to be our new material. So if I just press L over these different parts, once again, this works because they're not actually connected. They may be touching, but they don't actually share any geometry that connects. So hitting L will work for this. If they were actually all part of the same mesh, we'd have to do a little extra work. And part of the reason we did them as separate parts was that I wanted to make this a little bit easier on you and not too time consuming. So once we have all those selected, we can then add a new material or pick another one. So I think for this, I think I want them to be kind of a gray, but the stained wood gray. So I'm just going to pick a different one like the stained wood blue, and I don't want it blue. And we can switch to object mode so you can see that better. I forgot to click assign. So make sure they're selected, make sure you're in the material slot you want to give it to, and then click assign. Now if I switch to object mode, I can see the blue color. And since I don't want blue, I'm going to make a copy of this, and we're going to make this one gray. And then I can pick the gray color here on our mixed node in our shader editor. And I'm just going to pull it down to white in the center and then pull this down on the side. So we have kind of a gray color for these bars in the cage. Okay, so for the caboose, the last car, I'm not going to go through this, but you can go through and color different parts. Actually, I've changed my mind. I am going to show you one thing. So if we go into edit mode, and let's say that we want to make the roof a different color than the walls down here. If I hit L, it's going to select all of it. So this is a case where you would have to manually select the faces that you want to be the new color. So this, and if you find it a little disorienting to work in render view, you can switch to material preview, and then you don't get quite as much glitching, and it's not quite as jarring as you move around. So I've selected the sides, and then I'll just use C to turn on circle select so I can kind of brush and select the rest of those, and then hit enter, and that will close circle select. And then I'll just double check that I didn't accidentally get something that wasn't what I wanted selected. So now with those selected, I'll add a new material slot, and then I'm going to assign those vertices to that slot. They changed to white because I don't have a material with it. I'll switch to object mode to make it a little easier, and let's pick, I'm going to stick with the chipped paint, and let's make a copy, and let's make this one, I didn't name the other one red, did I? Oh well, we can fix that. Let's make this black. So now we can go into our shader, we can dig around, and I'm looking for the node, the principled shader. Excuse me, the principled shader that deals with the color, and it would be this one. I see red, and we'll just change that to black, and that will give me a black top to the caboose. So at this point, you can go back and add the colors that you want. You can leave it all wood. You can make it painted, chipped paint, stained. I'll leave that up to you. So that ends this video. And then I think I'm going to stop this project for the grade here. And I'll make a new project dealing with adding some stickers and a few other things, but I want to separate those two since we're kind of talking about a different topic. So once you finish this, you can save your file and just upload your file to Google Classroom. That way I can grade that.